everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and I like to read comic books. And today, I'm going to talk about all the comic books that I read for the week of January 14th, 2015. Let's get started. Just to give you a heads up though, all of the comics featured in this week's review are from Marvel. And starting off, we have All New Captain America number 3. It's the second Captain America versus the daughter of the Red Skull in this issue. Unlike last issue where pretty much we saw Sam physically fight Crossbones, in this issue Sin is pretty much attacking Sam psychologically, pretty much by reminding him that when he first encountered the Red Skull and Captain America, when the Red Skull had the Cosmic Cube, apparently the Red Skull rewrote history so that Sam basically changed from a thug to a outstanding member of the community, a volunteer and stuff. Like all the things that we know about Sam now, him being more helpful and looking after his brother and sister. Apparently Sin claims it's a lie because the Red Skull rewrote reality with the Cosmic Cube and made Sam actually better. Although that kind of sounds strange that the Red Skull would actually use that power to make someone's life better. Just saying, it's a little weird. And of course Sam doesn't believe it. And when that fails to work, Sin pretty much forces Sam to surrender when she says that she has assassins targeted on Sam's brother and sister and their children as well. So Sam pretty much hands over the shield, he drops his wings off a cliff, then he has to jump off the cliff. But fortunately though, right when Sin goes in to her base to contact Zemo saying she's about to launch her bomb for Hydra, Sam shows up, beats her, is able to stop the bomb, revealing that he had Red Wing around the whole time and had Red Wing find his wing pack right after he threw it off the cliff so that he could get back in action. So Sam basically disables the bomb and stops Sin's portion of the plan. However, he still has a lot more stops to make because Hydra's still out there and getting ready to launch their bomb that will apparently cleanse humanity. Alright. I gotta admit, I am enjoying this arc on All New Captain America. I really like how, for people who are unfamiliar with Sam's background, that each issue so far has pretty much started off with a flashback to Sam's early life. First issue was the death of his father, last issue was the death of his mother, and at the beginning of this issue we see Sam kind of looking after his little brother and sister, reading them a story, and when they hear a loud noise they think it's a gunshot, but it's really just a car backfire, so they're just, so we're kind of getting like bits and pieces of Sam's past, and and I think that's great. It's really a nice way for Rick Remender to kind of give us some background on Sam without ruining the main story. Because the main story, it's very interesting, and it is very similar to the Winter Soldier movie because basically we've learned that Hydra has infiltrated every organization, and now they're planning some massive attack where they're going to release a bunch of bombs containing an inhuman kid's blood that will somehow cleanse humanity. Which I don't think they're entirely being clear about. Like, I mean, what exactly is it supposed to cleanse? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Also, I am a little confused though about Sam's background though. I did look up Sam's history, and apparently the thing that Sin said, that Sam was actually not a very nice guy before he met Cap, was true, but then the Red Skull did actually use the cube to retcon that and make Sam better, which I guess sounds a little weird. Which to me sounds a little weird that Red Skull would actually use cosmic power to actually help someone. But yeah, if it is retcon, if anyone knows for sure what happened, please clear it up for me. Thank you overall. But other than that, though, this was a very nice issue. Even at the end, though, Sam does reflect on what happened, and he says that even though he may have been a bad guy in the past, who he is now is a better person, and he is Captain America now, and that's who he's going to be. So overall, very nice issue. Definitely recommend getting All New Captain America number 3. Next up, Cyclops number 9. Basically, since Cyclops has joined the crew of the Desolation, he is now starting to earn the respect. Captain Maleficent is actually very proud of Scott and decides to have him lead the mission, where he sends Scott and Creighton to go sell the Starcracker that they stole. But unfortunately, when they get to the plant, they find the buyer dead and a bunch of Shi'ar soldiers getting ready to take him out. While Scott's off on the planet and off the ship, Corsair finally gets the opportunity to escape his prison, and he heads to the planet where he searches and he finds Scott as Scott's trying to escape from the Shi'ar soldiers, and and Scott says, "Okay, you're out. Great. We have to get off planet quick. I have to go warn the crew of the Desolation." Corsair's like, "No, Scott, we're gonna escape. If we're escaping together. All right. The Desolation can fend for themselves, and we have to go find the other Starjammers." And he says, "We have to keep going and not look back." However, Scott looks back mainly because we see in this issue that Scott is kind of having a relationship with the Captain Malefic's daughter, Velena, sorry, and so I think that's the whole reason why Scott's kind of tempted not to leave and stuff. Although I think that this was a great issue because it does kind of show that Scott is a very loyal guy. I mean, yeah, at first he kind of just lied to the crew about his identity so he can make sure his father stays alive because they attacked the Starjammers and took Corsair while they pretty much sent the other members of the Starjammers into space on an escape pod. But Scott, he's starting to earn the respect of the crew, and he doesn't really want to completely betray them in a way, even though he did deceive them from the beginning, and he does kind of like Velena. Although I'm pretty sure once everyone finds out the truth, they are going to try to gut Cyclops like a fish. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting. I think it's definitely one of the more positive character traits that this series does capture about Cyclops. That he's very loyal to anyone who helps him, and clearly Scott does want to leave and find the other Starjammers, but at the same time he really doesn't want to screw over the members of the Desolation. So that's definitely going to be so I think in the next couple of issues that's definitely going to be something that Scott's mind is going to be on, whether or not he has to do the right thing for his dad and the Starjammers, or the right thing for the crew that did kind of help him out. So, yeah, and also another thing, how exactly I think Corsair may have mentioned another ship around that they could have taken. So it is going to be interesting to see how Corsair and Scott plan to reunite with the rest of the Starjammers. Overall, though, Cyclops is still a great series. It's really showing the more positive aspects of Cyclops' character, especially since the character has completely changed. The present-day Cyclops changed after the events of Avengers vs. X-Men. Now he's kind of like the mutant rebel in Uncanny X-Men. So, if you really enjoy the classic Cyclops, then you should definitely check out this series. Daredevil number 12, picking up right after the last issue left off. Daredevil is able to save his friend George Smith from being used in the plan of the new stunt master, who's apparently using other people to fake his own death during his stunts. And now his latest victim is George Smith, the original stunt master and also Daredevil's friend. Fortunately, though, Daredevil was able to save George Smith and get him to a hospital and get him to an ambulance in time. However, when Daredevil goes after the new stunt master, we actually learned that George Smith faked his kidnapping, and that he was behind the whole thing. The new stunt master, and also he faked his original death so that he would return. So that during the whole stunt involving Daredevil and the Golden Gate Bridge, he would actually reveal that he was the one driving the bike the whole time, and thus earn the reputation of being the greatest stuntman in history and the one who was able to cheat death and stuff. However, though, after hearing this, Matt promises George that he is going to be in prison for a very long time for this. And after Matt's visit with George, he goes and meets up with Kristen at the office, and they talk for a bit, and Matt finally says that he loves her for the first time in their relationship. Okay, this was definitely another entertaining issue for the most part. I've noticed that when I was finished with this issue, I kind of started to notice that a lot of the Daredevil stories that have been coming out recently in this new volume since Matt's been in San Francisco, a lot of them have been focusing on Kristen and Matt's relationship, and hitting some very progressive moments, particularly in this issue where Matt is the first one to say he loves her, and that she's also feels the same way about him. So just right when I felt that, I was like, oh, that's so nice. Oh crap, something's gonna go wrong, because that's kind of what happens in Daredevil sometimes, that things go well for Matt, but eventually some big thing comes along and it's all going to hell. So something big may be around the corner soon. I'm not entirely sure, but the last few issues of Daredevil have been very self-contained stories. A lot of them have been focused a little bit on Kristen and Matt at times, though not like the entire issues, but kind of in these moments where they sort of progress in their relationship. So I feel like maybe at some point we are going to get a big curveball is going to be thrown our way soon. Who knows? But really, overall, Daredevil, it's still a great book, and that's mostly in part to Mark Waid's writing. The way he writes Daredevil and all the other characters, it is a very well-written book, and I always say this about this series, but Daredevil is definitely a buy. Now for another series that I've really been enjoying, Silver Surfer number 8. And in this issue, Dawn finally learns something about the Surfer that he really hasn't told her since they first met, and it is a big deal. Pretty much, the issue opens up with Surfer letting Dawn take a turn at flying his board. However, when she does pilot it, they do crash on the planet that apparently that Dawn describes just came out of nowhere and wasn't even on like the Surfer's radar or something. And when they crash, though, they start to notice. And when the people of the planet start to notice them and stuff, keep in mind though, after they land though, Norn kind of silvers down to his Norn Rad form. While they're on the planet, they start to notice that no two people are alive. There appears to be one person of a different species, and suddenly Norn starts to remember, oh no, I know starts to remember like each species and which planet they're from, and he finally realizes that all these people are the only survivors of planets that he led Galactus to, that Galactus consumed. And right when Norn starts to recognize them, he starts silvering up again, and the board comes flying to him. And right at that moment, everyone starts freaking out because they're like, "Oh no, the Herald's here! Galactus is back!" And of course, Norn tries to calm him down, and Dawn's wondering what's going on, and everyone just kind of basically says that he's the Herald, reveals that Silver Surfer is the Herald to Galactus, and that he's responsible for all their planets being destroyed. And Dawn asks, like, is this true? And Surfer says yes, and he tries to explain that he's no longer the Herald, but Dawn doesn't listen and just basically shuns him. So Surfer says, I'll leave you and let me know when you want to go back home, and just kind of gives her space for a while. And so while both Dawn and the Surfer are kind of reflecting on what just happened in the revelation, Surfer kind of realizes that his board leaves sort of a cosmic trail, and also one of the aliens that's on the planet New Haven, which is the survivor planet, explains to Dawn that the Surfer's board does leave sort of a cosmic trail. So if the Surfer was able to find the planet, then it's possible that someone else could. And we cut to the final page where we see Galactus has followed the trail right to where the Surfer is, and right near the planet New Haven. And so that's pretty much how the issue ends. And next issue, we are going to have Galactus showing up, and so it's pretty much going to be the Surfer versus Galactus. Okay, well, it was only a matter of time, I think, until Dawn finally learned the truth about Silver Surfer and him being a herald of Galactus. And obviously, yeah, Dawn is scared. But here's the thing, though I think Dawn might be able to forgive Surfer next issue if Surfer is able to, fight off Galactus. Obviously, Surfer is going to be fighting Galactus next issue. He's either going to be telling Galactus to leave this planet alone, or something like that. And I think that's going to be the moment that Dawn kind of realizes, yeah, Norn did some bad stuff, but now he's kind of making up for it. He's kind of he's being a better man, and that will be the moment that Dawn kind of forgives him. But honestly, this was definitely a great issue. I mean, since Dawn and Surfer have a very unique friendship, they're pretty much best friends since they first met each other, and even way back in the first issue, when Surfer had to be the champion to fight the Queen of the negative verse or something. I'm trying to remember what it was. The only reason Surfer and Dawn met is because they reached all across the people on that planet, reached and found the one person that Silver Surfer would care the most about in the entire universe, and it was Dawn Greenwood. So I think so obviously that means something. That means that Dawn will probably forgive the Surfer. I mean, maybe not instantly, but she might be starting to forgive him after we see what happens with Galactus next issue. So yeah, overall, Silver Surfer, this is still a very awesome series. The writing, Dan Slott's writing, Michael Allred's artwork. It's very, very good. I highly recommend it. Definitely buy Silver Surfer. Okay, this week's final comic is something that I originally wasn't planning on getting, but I kind of decided at the last minute, okay, I'm going to get this because I think everyone's going to be talking about it. Marvel's Star Wars #1. Okay, so since Disney owns Marvel and Disney bought Lucasfilm, which included all their intellectual properties, including Star Wars, eventually when the licensing, I believe, ran out on Dark Horse Comics, it pretty much reverted to Marvel because Disney owns Lucasfilm and Disney also owns Marvel, so it made sense that Marvel would get the publishing rights back. So awesome. So Marvel has pretty much begun publishing Star Wars comics again. Also, they are planning to release all the comics that Marvel made. All the Star Wars comics Marvel made in the 70s and 80s are going to be released in omnibuses, which will be coming out. I think the first volume is already out. The second volume, I think, is going to come out in May. So that's real exciting. But anyways, the comic at hand, I don't really want to talk too much about the story, so I'll just give you the abridged version. It takes place between episodes 4 and 5. Our heroes are pretty much attempting to destroy an Imperial weapons factory. While they're there, Luke senses a bunch of other species that are being used as slaves by the Empire to make their weapons, and he frees them. And while the group is trying to escape, Darth Vader arrives, and Luke decides to go confront him. And okay, so I kind of did tell everything. Sorry about that. Anyways, but really, this is a very nice issue. I think any Star Wars fan should check this out. I mean, and especially since The Force Awakens is pretty much almost practically a year away. Well, actually now it's more like 11 months, but still a long ways to go. So I think to tie it over, be grateful that Marvel is publishing Star Wars comics to help tie it over. I also think that the creative team on this title is very, very good. Jason Aaron's story with John Cassaday's artwork definitely blend well to make you feel like you're watching a new Star Wars movie. And also, again, I really do like Cassaday's artwork because he does capture the likeness of the actors who've played the characters in the comic. I think that's very very great. Definitely something that, again, I think Star Wars fans are really going to enjoy this. So far, I have seen some other reviews, and everyone has been praising this title, and I agree. This is definitely something that you should definitely check out. It's very awesome. If you love Star Wars, you owe it to yourself to check out at least the first issue. And this isn't going to be the only Star Wars title Marvel's publishing. Next month, Darth Vader is going to get his own ongoing title, which I think I'm going to check out because I really do like Darth Vader. And then in March, Princess Leia is going to get her own miniseries, which will be written by Daredevil writer Mark Waid. So yeah, a lot of good Star Wars comics coming out. There's definitely going to be a lot, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get a lot more Star Wars stuff leading up to The Force Awakens. I can't wait for that movie to come out. But until then, read Star Wars comics. It's really awesome, and I'm really glad that Marvel is publishing this title again. And also, I know I don't normally do a book of the week, but I have to say, book of the week, definitely going to Star Wars #1 right here. This is pretty much, if you can only get one comic this week, just get Star Wars. That should really tell you that really sums up how I feel about this. And that's it for my comic review this week. Thank you again for watching. What comics did you get this week? Let me know. I really want to know what you guys got this week. Do you agree with what I thought about about some comics? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. That's why we have a comments section. Please let me know what you guys think. I really would like to know that. Again, thank you for subscribing to my channel, whether you're an old subscriber or a new subscriber. Thanks for the views. I appreciate all your support. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.